everyone. I'm back with 4 new coffee-themed journals. Their names are Mocha, Cappuccino, Espresso, and Latte. These are hard-covered journals with 4 signatures. They have muslin tabs on the top, sari silk beaded closures for ties, and some really fun beaded tassels with all kinds of good stuff in it. So I'm going to set aside several of these and flip through Latte. These they're all quite similar inside. The journals are 9 inches by 6 inches, and the spine is about 2 1/4 inches wide. The tassels have quite a few beads in them. There's a lotus flower in each, and they either have a bohemian elephant or a teddy bear and some other flowers. The plate that has the title of the type of coffee on the front is from if memory serves, the fabric panel is Metro Cafe. It's not new in the cloth stores, in the fabric stores, but you may be able to find a few panels of this still on Etsy. I've got an embellishment on each of the covers with a Tim Holtz word band and some little charms, a coffee cup, and a bead that looks like a coffee bean, little spoon. The fabric cover is I would call it a tweed-like weave. I don't know exactly what it needs to be to classify as tweed. The ties are sari silk, 3 colors in this skein, the dusty gray blue, a neutral color, almost taupe, and just a hint of pink. And I've beaded the end of each of these ties. The images in this journal are all in my new coffee digi that's available in my Etsy shop. I have, I still have band-aids on. I have quite a few tea-dyed postcards and tea-dyed little stamp tags. This is a tea-dyed index card that had graph paper printed on it with some Tim Holtz washi and a Tim Holtz coffee stamp. And I love that stamp on this tag. How have you been? The puns are so bad, they're good. K-cups. Here's another index card that was tea-dyed and stamped. And there's little narrations, little word stickers. This one says timeless on a few of the pictures in each of the journals. This is a digi stamp that was printed before the paper was tea-dyed. It's a Hemingway quote. The quotes throughout this are from various artists and writers and composers about coffee. There's a little coffee cup on this lace tab. Each journal has a couple of guest checks, and I have tea-dyed stamped paper stitched onto it, some tissue washi, and Just makes a neat little pocket there. The tassels in all of the journals in the middle of each of the 4 signature are different coffee and espresso pots stamped out with the banner punch, and I thought that was fitting for the coffee theme. I've also got some index cards in here that I've collaged some paper and done some stamping on. One of my favorite ways to journal, and I have an upcoming video on this, is to journal on index cards, and I kind of have a method for doing that. I thought maybe it would be fun to share a few of these throughout these journals as well. Another stamped index card with graph lines on it. A lot of graph paper, the lines on it, the grids run when I go to tea dye the paper, but it's funny, these new index cards that I found, they do not run at all, and they tea dye up quite nicely. Stenciling. Of the coffee beans. Those who don't believe in magic will never find it. Always felt like Van Gogh's man drinking coffee kind of knew something that I didn't, or like he was on to some little wisdom in life. This is the chemical breakdown for the different components in coffee. This tab is from Tim Holtz Dapper paper, yeah. Well, the fabric is from that paper line, rather. But I enjoyed that, and I thought that the different hues in it made it look like it went along with a coffee-themed journal. Got some extra stitching on some of these edges. Love that picture. That man looks very much like my grandfather did in his later years. That's my dad's dad. I've got a tea-dyed ticket, and on the back I stamped "Thanks a Latte." Like I said, the puns are so bad they're good. I've got a page from a book that has reprints of the covers of the New York Times, and I'll tell you, I went through rather carefully to try to find some headlines that weren't necessarily announcing bad or tragic news. I mean, we all can think of coffee in a newspaper in the morning, but I didn't want to be hitting people with bad news inside their coffee journal, so I tried to be careful and keep the headlines at least a little more upbeat. Some coffee fabric that I had. There we go. I tried not to hide any of this piece of it because it continues on the other side. It's a digi of a coffee tree, coffee beans. In each of the journals, I've taken some of the Tim Holtz Metro fabric. You might recall seeing paper like this in one of his first paper pads that he put out. And it's very nostalgic. When I was a child, we used to go into New York City, and I remember seeing these signs on the walls of the different stations when we went into Manhattan to go shopping, and it's just very reminiscent. So the fabric cuts out as perfect little pockets for these journals. So, a couple more quotes. I just loved this trim. It's so fluffy. I love this painting of this woman smiling. Trust your crazy ideas was the words I put on that picture. Be in love with your life. Here's a different fabric that had various coffee labels and collage words on it. I commented in an earlier video, when I go fabric shopping now, I walk through the stores and rather than looking at the whole fabric and what it looks like, I try to imagine which little snippets I'll use in various journals. It's a whole different perspective. This is just another index card with a coffee stamp, little muslin tab on it. With that old-fashioned wheel. Here's another little coffee cup on the lace. Here's another guest check. Cream and sugar is the insert there. Some more stitching around the edges. I love this look with these colors. They just set such a tone. And coffee spoons. So this is the flip through of one of the coffee journals. I will list all of these for sale in my Etsy as soon as this video is posted. And the Digi is also available there now. Thanks so much for joining me, and have a fabulous day.